Nick is not going to be in this episode. He is super right now. He is working on a ton of stuff to get ready for our event that is going to be happening November 15th. And the reason I can talk about the date is because I forced that son of a gun to lock it in. But before we even launch the course that we're going to be making available to everybody, and before we even had this event or ran any webinars or did anything, we beta tested it with a few students, and lo and behold, these students have been able to quit their jobs, and these students have been able to create their own businesses, and these students are now free from the quote unquote rat race. So we wanted to make sure that it worked first. Boom, it works. These people are happy, and our second beta student, Brooke Schnorr, is joining me.
Hello.
At HQ in the podcast room. We're Instagram Live, we're Facebook Live. And Brooke, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. So if a lot of people don't know, we'll share this now. Brooke is Nick's sister. I've known Brooke my whole life. Brooke went the route of many of you. Brooke did very well in school. Went to college. You went
Mount St. Mary's.
Mount St. Mary's. She went to Mount St.
4
Mary's.
years.
4 years. Got a degree in
communications.
And
another 2 for a license for physical therapist assistant.
Okay, did that. And then she was actually very, very, very successful with the LuLaRoe brand.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Got lucky. Got in the first 1,000 that signed up.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. It's a blessing.
Yeah, and did unbelievable there. Was asked to speak in front of a ton of those brand reps that were out there, and she did a great job with that. And you have that entrepreneurial spirit. I think you get. I don't know where you guys got that. I always say that you guys got that from your dad.
Yep.
God rest his soul. But I think that he was always looking for a way to spend more time with his family and do all of that. And I think that's kind of where that came from. But you at that point you were just like, man, I did it. Like I created my own business using something else, and I'm successful at it. But then you kind of started to see like some things started kind of going, I guess, awry with LuLaRoe, or it just wasn't working.
Just in general. Yep.
Okay.
It just went in general.
Yeah. So at that point in time, Brooke and her husband Jeff reached out to us, and they were like, hey, we've been watching what you guys are doing. Do you have any ideas of how we could kind of get into the digital marketing side? You're very savvy, obviously, in social media. Right. You've done a great job with a lot of the branding that you've already done. But you asked for our help. You guys kind of went out, did it, got like 1 or 2 clients, I think, and it was kind of going. But then the questions continued to happen and things of that nature. And then so that kind of sparked Nick and I to go, maybe we should really launch a course and get everything that we have out on, either video or audio, and get this out to people that are struggling, that have an interest in digital marketing, want to create a business, but don't know how to do it.
Yep.
And so,
exactly.
Yeah, so we created the course. It's about 60 hours. Brooke, we locked her in a room, tied her to a chair, and made her watch the entire course, along with our other beta student, who he's actually already been interviewed, but you guys will see more of him. You did the course, and that was in July.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So fast forward to now, how many clients do you have now?
We're hitting about 12.
So you're 12 active clients.
Residual.
You got residual income coming in. Neither you or Jeff have to do anything else, really, at this point. And you guys basically have a working, functioning digital agency that is taking care of clients, social media, reputation management, taking care of all their listings, everything else like that.
Yes,
is that
sir.
right?
Yes, it is.
Unbelievable. All right, so now let's go backwards real quick and go back to the college thing. So you went to Mount St. Mary's. You went there for mass communications, right? I guess it's a pretty broad major, so it kind of keeps your options open.
In college, you think you can do all things with it, but in reality, you can do no things with it. So.
Right, exactly. So from that standpoint, what made you, after you got out of college, what was the next step then?
So I took a job, legitimately was at a paper milling company like The Office. And it was right when The Office came out. We would joke all the time. And I was there, and I just remember it was in Emmitsburg, where Mount St. Mary's was. And I remember leaving in the morning when it was dark and getting home when it was dark and thinking, I can't do this. This is just not for me. So then the whole physical therapist assistant thing kind of came up, and I knew I liked healthcare. And then I would say that kind of lit the bug for wanting to do something of running my own business, because I then took a job doing home health physical therapy, where I made my own schedule. I was given this amount of patients, then I called. It was between me and the patients to make my schedule. I didn't report to anyone. And after doing that, I said I never could go back. Like I could never be in a 9 to 5, or a lot of therapy offices are like 9 to 9 sort of place, where someone's asking me where I am, what I'm doing.
Right.
And I even tried after I had Nora, my first. I took a really high-paying job at a physical therapy office down here, down in the Towson area, and it was right when snow happened. She was getting sick her first round, and I just remember being like, I can't be tied to a building. Like I absolutely am not the kind of person that can be tied to a building.
Yeah.
So
and I feel like a lot of people are kind of like that now, right?
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of
hurts.
people now, they get up in the morning, they get dressed, they get their kids ready, you know. If
I don't know how
children,
they do it, honestly.
Right. And I mean, majority of these people have to be at work by 8 o'clock.
Yep.
I can tell you that I have not been at the office since at 8 o'clock for a very, very long time. So I choose when I decide to come in. I do still come in early, but I'm usually the first one here and last one to leave. But regardless of that, I make the decision of when I show up because the work gets done. And it kind of just clicked in your head, I guess, at that point. I think maybe Nora was the breaking point at that point. You were like,
it was literally weather and then illness. And like just the other night, 2 nights ago, we were in the hospital with Nora for a foot infection. And I'm like, I can't imagine having to get up. And it was the first day of school, and just that handoff back and forth and you know, you and I were going to get together, and I texted you and said, hey, I can't. Nora was in the hospital all night, and it was as simple as that, because, you know, we still have our own businesses that we can run ourselves. So I with kids, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah. And so now you make your own schedule.
Totally.
You take care of your clients.
Yep.
You are eight months pregnant, 8.5 months, 9 months pregnant.
Yeah, in the 10 months.
Still working.
Yep.
Kudos to you for that.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, anybody that is watching this episode or listening to this episode and you're complaining about what you're doing right now, and we know we cuss on this, go fuck yourself, because Brooke's 9 months pregnant and she's out there hustling. She follows me on social media, and has told me from a standpoint that, you know, I keep her moving and going because I don't stop. I can tell you that honestly, I don't think I'm as strong as you. I think I would probably stop if I was carrying around an 8-pound baby in my stomach, but you don't. But that's respectable, and I love that. And I'm even more excited to see the growth, such a quick growth of your company, right? Yep. Now, from a guidance standpoint, has being a part of like the inner circle, like the mastermind part, where you have access to us.
Oh yeah,
right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. It absolutely does. And it's just the grace of the business. It's like, I don't mind putting in I don't mind hustling a 12-hour workday, which today probably will be, because I know as of tomorrow, I'm done. I have my post scheduled. I have everything planned out. I've done all my meetings. I've got my time in. And so I can actually turn off, because that was always a big thing for me, is lingering work. But it's like, with this being my own business, with the way the system is set up, with the computer technology, I can get things done and lock it out. So I have nothing else to do. Tomorrow will be my full day with my kids.
Wow.
So it's been amazing. Yep.
But in light of that, if your clients call, and this is kind of my mindset, if a client calls you and they need something, you pick up the phone.
Totally. And they know that. Yep. Right. Absolutely. They know that. Yep.
So in light of this, you know, like I said, we've got a couple beta students that have already watched the course. They've taken the course. They've been a part of the inner circle. They've been a part of the mastermind. They're running successful businesses. They're not locked in that room, locked in that office, answering to somebody else. And you and I were just talking about this this morning, about how and I have this post coming out. So when this episode goes out, you may have already seen this post, or you're going to see this post about me in a graveyard, because I pass a graveyard every single day before I pull up to the driveway in my house, which is kind of a morbid thought, but in the reality, it's a reminder to me that anything that I'm worried about or concerned about or upset about is really quite minimal to the fact that I've only got a specific amount of time here. So I should probably spend that time being happy, not making my job control me, but me controlling my job.
100% freedom. And
I think that's the one thing that's gotten me most excited. So like when you or Jeff come to me and you're like, holy crap, man, like this entire day tomorrow I can spend with my kids and do that. That is a huge deal to me. And then the other day when I was listening to, I had a conversation with Eric, who was our very first student. And he says to me, Amy's quitting her job today that she's been there for like 10 years. She's quitting her job today to come work full time with me, with our company. And I'm like, holy shit, man. Like we are freeing people from, like, honestly, it's like you're freeing them from the matrix. You know what I mean? Like you're like, dude, there's a whole nother world out there where you can actually enjoy your life and still make money and still actually take good care of clients, create a better business for them digitally, and create a better life for your family. So it's awesome. So you get out of college, you do the whole thing in the office, everything else like that. And what's the next step?
So then I guess we were barely surviving with me doing home health because it was good, but I just wasn't sacrificing time with Nora because she was little. And I just had Katie. She was 2 months old, and LuLaRoe kind of fell out of thin air. Like it was, I'm a firm believer in God things, and it was a God thing. It just fell into our lap, and we jumped, and we were lucky we did because we were very, very successful. And that took off to give us even more freedom. And that was a big thing that LuLaRoe stood for, was freedom with your family. Family time was important, but then what changed is when you hit leadership level, you have to travel 5 times a year. And it's just too hard now. Our season of life has changed. It's not anything they did right or wrong. It's just the season of life is different. So when time came that we knew we were ending that and we were scrambling because Jeff is home, we were like, this makes sense. Like this is exactly the freedom and the residual income that our family needs to stay afloat. So it was like a no-brainer, another God moment of just that transition coming in right at the time we needed it.
Yeah, right. And so that's kind of like one of the things that I feel like the sacrifice part. I think that is where you come in from. This was a chance that you took. This was not, there was no protection. There was no safety net. It was like you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. And I have so many people in the past before we did this that had come to me and said, like, we want to do what you do. Can we sell the product for you? Absolutely. 100% you can do it. Send me clients, I'll take care of it. And y'all make sure you get taken care of. And nothing. It's too hard. I can't do it. I can't handle being told no. Right. So you have to be a certain, you have to get yourself into a certain mindset. 100%. If you're not in that mindset, you got to learn how to get into that mindset, which I think is what happened. I think that helps the inner circle side, like being able to meet.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what are you doing throughout the day?
I have a story for that actually with you.
Go ahead.
No, it was, you hear no a lot. And with LuLaRoe, I remember saying to Jeff, if I can sacrifice 1 year, I really think it'll be worth it. And we saw that reward. So this kind of felt the same going into it of like, if we can just go so hard for a certain amount of time, whatever that may be. And we were hitting roadblocks. And we were just, we don't need it. And at the time we kind of weren't confident too. We were like, what are we doing? We're not sure if we know what we're doing. And then I came in and you were here, and you'll probably know the story when I bring it up. And I was really like, it was one of those days where I felt like if you said the wrong thing, I could cry. And I was like, I don't want to be around my brother at this moment because he's the one that can bring that out. And you came in and you were talking with me in the minor picture. Yeah. And I had not seen that before. I've seen so many things about success and failure and how things look on, I talked about this all the time with LuLaRoe, but I'd never seen the picture of the minor so close and then they walked away. And that's exactly what it felt like. It was like, we're there. We have success stories, maybe a little bit more failure stories, and now it's totally flipped. My inboxes, people are reaching out to us, we're getting referrals, and that is exactly the path LuLaRoe went, where it was just all this energy put out and a lot of no's and a few yeses, and then one day it just flips and you're in the seat of you're the one doing the no's and the yeses. Right. And I just remember, so that access to you guys was crucial because I was at that point where I was like, I don't think I'm doing this right. And then I would get in a meeting with a client and I'd be like, I can help them. Like, I really can. I've told you that. I'm like, I really actually can help your business. And it's so inspiring to know you can do that for someone. Yeah, I think it's just about finding the pain points of those clients and what they need. And a majority of them, A, they don't understand it. Right. B, they don't want to do it. Yep. And so what a lot of you maybe don't understand about, what we do, a lot of it is fulfillment. Oh, yeah. A lot of it is, it's actual work. It's not... The software can be as powerful and as awesome as it is, but in the reality, it's the person behind the software and the customer service that you're providing to the client. Yep. That's how you retain the client. That's how you keep them there. And so from my standpoint, I can tell you that when your brother found me, and this was 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I had to shift, it was the same way. It was like, fuck it. I'll take 12 months. And I'm going to go full force on this. Yeah. And your brother will tell, he's told the story. I locked myself in my basement, no money, going through a bankruptcy. Tons of shit going on, no car, like whatever. I had no choice. And so sometimes when you just say,
screw it, burn the fucking boats and go full force, that's when things happen. But most people, they quit, right?
Right
Before they knock into that last piece of the wall, and all of a sudden the diamonds start kind of flowing out. And that's the biggest problem. And that's what I don't want to see our students that are going to be buying this program. I don't want our students, I want them to understand that there is a little bit of the learning curve.
Right.
But once you get past that learning curve, boy, the waters start to open up and the sun comes out and you're free at that point. And so that's one of the major things that I want everybody to take away from this episode is that Brooke went through it. I went through it. But what we did is we figured out within the course that we can fast forward you through those hiccups because we've already been through them. So by going through them for you, we are teaching you how to navigate the waters so you don't have to go through the same kind of like ups and downs that we went through to be able to do that. Right. So you and Jeff are currently doing this. Give me an idea of like verticals that you guys are working in, because the way that we do this, right? Because we operate in different verticals. Tell me some verticals that you guys are operating in.
So it's so interesting because when we started, we had a game plan, and then it kind of fell apart quickly. Of just we'll take anything at this moment, we'll go out, and then I heard a really good talk, and everybody here also talks about that. Is just finding what fits for you, and I kept finding myself going back to women-owned businesses, and it's just, I mean, it makes sense. I just got out. Well, I'm still kind of working with some of the women from LuLaRoe, but like I worked with all these women with LuLaRoe. I love women-owned businesses, and it just was coming that way. And I was like, why am I seeking out other businesses that I don't necessarily understand when I'm connecting so well with these women trying to start a company, or they're very high up in the company? So that's definitely one. Absolutely love restaurants. I find restaurants are so rewarding in a sense of just like you post a picture and you see people get hungry, like literally a literal hunger of like, when is that special running? So I really love restaurants. It's been cool too, because we've gotten into some that we're not comfortable with, and that we do have to actually really go and like immerse ourselves in that business and kind of think, all right, like I have a medical spa. I don't know anything about Botox. I don't know anything about collagen. And it's just, actually being there, and it's like school. It's been fun because you actually have to go and learn these things all over again. And then once you feel good with them, then you can approach those other businesses to take on more. Like we feel so much more confident in all those areas, and the areas that we're fine tuning, just now going into them and just and saying, I can help you, and here's how I've done it in the past. So it feels so good when you get more of those under you.
What have you? So you got like medical spas, you have restaurants, you've got cleaning companies. You have political campaigns that you're doing.
We do actually.
Just a ton of stuff. So what we do works in every single vertical. But what I wanted to say, or what I wanted to ask you was like, right now, are you actively out there looking for leads and trying to go after certain people, or are you now kind of seeing more that you've taken your own social media avenues, like your own Instagram, your own Facebook page, things of that nature, and are those turning into lead generators from a standpoint of referral rates?
Totally both. We're getting more referrals, and it's funny because they're coming in and they're exactly what I love. Like, it's women-owned businesses, and that is just word of mouth. We keep reminding everyone we love their referrals. I personally, and this is where you and I differ, I don't love advertising myself on social media as much. So I've taken more of a back seat, but it's still coming in. That's the thing. Like, that is how we definitely launched our business. When we finally came out, and it was hard because we didn't want anyone to think we were done with LuLaRoe and there was any bad vibes there. But when we finally came out and said, we are JB Social Marketing, this is Jeff and Mai's company, that is where the initial boom came. We had people coming to us saying, I watched you with LuLaRoe. I watched you take this nothing and build it into an enterprise. And so now I would say it's still 50-50, but it's swinging the other way quickly. Like, we are being sought out more. People are seeing, I was telling Nick, I had a local restaurant that we love said, ever since we started, more social marketers are now calling them, trying to kind of figure out, hey, do you want us on top of what you're already doing? Like, you're doing really well. What are you doing? And they're like noticing. And she's just like, it's interesting how much you're kind of creating a buzz in this community of people seeing like, wow, you've really stepped your game up. So I think it's coming in. I know it's coming in more. There's certain ones we want and we're after slowly, and we're getting them for sure, but definitely it's swinging the other way.
Yeah, I mean, there's some clients that I've chased after for 3, 4, 5 years, and you finally get them, and you're like, wow. But that's kind of where it takes us is now is like Nick and I are getting more and more and more excited for you guys when we hear when you guys get a win, we're like, God, man, I remember those days. I remember like jumping up and down, like getting super excited. I still do that over some things. I still get excited about the win, but I actually, and I know your brother's like this too, is we get more now. We get more excited now for your wins.
You can tell you guys do.
I mean, it's just super, super exciting. So, this is kind of like a weird question, I guess, because you kind of went the other way. But do you feel that somebody could also, from like a side gig standpoint, if they had a full-time job, let's say they had like a 9-to-5 job, is this something that they could do on the side to create income as well?
So I feel really strongly about this, and this is where Nick and I kind of started our banter. Before I even started this, of like, so forgive me for always speaking about women and women owned, and it's just that's what I've been doing.
It's really annoying now.
No, but that's like what I've been doing, and I see, and there is this desire for stay-at-home moms that husbands have plenty of income to have something for themselves. And that is what LuLaRoe did for a lot of women. I saw that, and you never want to rob them of that. And it feels so good. And so when Nick was talking about this initially, I kept thinking of the women who could do this on the side to bring in that extra $2,000 a month for maybe the private school they want to send their kids to, but that extra little nugget that belongs to them. So I feel really strongly about it because I've met so many women, they don't need it. That's the thing. They don't need it. Like, it's not something they absolutely need. Their husbands are doing well, or that, they've structured their home to work off of one salary, but they want it. They want something. And I feel so strongly that this is the kind of business where if you have a good connection, like let's say you take your kids to this one bounce house all the time and their social media sucks. Like, I feel so strongly they could pick up that account and manage that account. And that could be that could be their thing. That's their $500 extra a month to do whatever. And I think that it can get lost because people think it has to be all or nothing. And it absolutely can, which is awesome. But I think it can also be a little chunk that someone can own as their own. That's theirs. And it's so cool. It's so unique.
Yeah, I mean, because
residual income.
Yeah, it's number one, it's residual, so it comes in every single month. Number two, it's also it's a way to, in my personal opinion, help the local businesses, maybe just even in your own little town. Create, like you said, create a buzz, like where you're taking it a little bit further. And like, if they're not doing anything, they're going to see results quickly.
Absolutely.
If they've already kind of got something going on, like it's going to be supplemental for them. But in the reality is this, and here's the one thing I want you guys to take away from this. If a business has an internal marketing person, they're probably paying that person anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000 a month. Odds are, about as much as they do about marketing. Okay. Because I've met now I will tell you that there are some very good CMOs out there, but a majority of them, not very good at all. And the reason is this: if you're so damn good at marketing, why are you only making between $30,000 and $50,000 a year? And two, why are you not working for yourself? That's a little bit concerning. So I'm more apt to trust the agency than I am the internal marketing person, just in my personal opinion. And at the same token is that business can also save from a money standpoint. And we also, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to quit the client, but that particular internal employee could quit and leave. And now the whole digital footprint, the whole formula, the whole strategy that was put in place for that business is now gone. So just in my personal opinion, you're better off going with someone who, this is what they do, this is the only thing that they do, and stick with them. And again, they're not going to go anywhere. So you have consistency through your social media. And we were just talking about that with a client. I actually had Brooke come with me to a meeting, and we were talking about that. And, the owner was like, I could pay $5,000 a month for what these guys do. He's absolutely right. But that person could go out and get hit by a bus. That person could quit. Whatever it is, the job is going to stop. And then the consistency of that digital footprint is going to be done. And that, my friends, is where you can create your own business, and you're going to be able to do that with the course that Nick and I are putting out. Like I said, we've already got a couple people that have been beta testing. Brooke is one of them. Brooke has now quit her job. She doesn't work other than for herself and for her family. The business that her and Jeff started is making money. They're using our software. They're using our formulas. They used our course to do it. They are part of the inner circle, so they have access to us, so they can ask questions. And here's the deal. If you guys want to try it before we officially launch it on the 15th, you can absolutely do that. We will give you basically like you're going to have early access to it. And I'm pretty sure I can talk Nick into giving you guys